Okay, good morning, welcome back. It's Wednesday morning. As some of you will have seen on Instagram, cheat day yesterday. Day at the beach, restaurants, lovely day out. But today we're back on the building site. Going to try and get more and more done on the little ensuite bathroom. So there is quite a lot to do today. We'll see how we get on. This evening Italy will be playing football, so there's like a dinner, and they've put up a big screen up by the Cooperativa, so we'll be heading up there. So that's the deadline for finishing work is going to be about 7 o'clock today, so that I can get up there and start the aperitifs on time. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so the water has been now connected for pretty much 48 hours. Everything's dry, so that's very good. What I'm going to do now is connect up the wires there for the lights, and then I'm going to run the wastewater pipe for the little sink along the wall there, and then put in a piece of wood to reinforce where the sink will screw onto. It's only a little tiny sink, so it doesn't need that much reinforcement. Up here in the front we'll do something a little more, but the sink actually will be sat on a shelf. And once we've done all of that, so that'll be everything behind the metalwork, then we'll have to put in another vertical here, so that when I put the plasterboard, because the next sheets of plasterboard are going to come from there all the way through to here, with a cutout for this water pipe, so like from the floor up cutout, because this area here is closed off. There will be more verticals coming in to go onto this rail, if you understand what I mean, and I need to cut this down as well. So there's lots and lots of different little things to do, but what I want here is a rail that goes there, so that I can then screw this rail through the plasterboard and onto that one, and that'll give even more rigidity to this partition wall here, which is the one that really needs to be done properly. There's our ventilation pipe, everything else looks fine. So let's get stuck in with the electricity. Now, there were a few comments, can I run some more on time lapse? Yes I can, and yes I will. So let me go and get my tripod. Okay, so we've got 5 core here, and we want a double light switch there. One switch will light here in the loo, which is this cable, and the other switch will light up the room, but there's a second light switch over there next to the door, so that is this cable here. So the power arrives here on the lighting circuit, we send it off to the switches, and then it comes back on 1 and 2, and the neutrals all run through. Okay, so now it's just a matter of getting everything set up. I put the switch on over there. That's double switch with double throw, so power comes in but then goes out either one side or the other, so that we can have 2 light switches on the circuit. Now, you see there's like a rubber around the cables inside the wire. That's because all of this is for humid installations. In fact, I've used it everywhere in the house because I don't see any inconvenience at all running it through the cellar or through the ceilings. So we should be okay there. I'm just going to cut them down so that I have enough wire, and then we'll put them all together. So that looks like a bit of a mess, but we'll go through it in a second. The way we put these together with these little blocks here. Now, they used to be screw things when I was a kid, but they've been replaced with things like this. So that one can connect 8 cables together. This one will do 5, and so on. There's always a coloured stripe on the edge of each one there, and that's where the power in, so the source of electricity, will go into, and then the others go out here. Once you've got the cable in there, that's it, you're done. You just have to push it in. It's not focusing super well. Just have to push it in, and then it holds. So the cable that comes up, this cable here, is where our electricity is coming from. Live, neutral, earth. We don't need to send an earth to the switch because the switch isn't earthed. We wouldn't normally have to send an earth to the lights, but we might put a chandelier in. So earths are very simple. They all just connect together. That's pretty easy. Then we've got our live, and our live goes into the switch on brown. So brown to brown. And then we have 3 possibles to come back from the switch. Now this is a bit confusing because the blue one is actually a return. It's not actually the neutral in this case for the switch. So of our 3 possibles, if the switch is in one position, this one will be live. In the switch is in the other position, this one will be live. That's for the light in the main room. And if the switch is on for the loo, this will be live. And if it's off, it won't be live because there's only one switch on there. So we need to connect this live to this live here, so that when the switch is on, the electricity will flow up here, up to the brown, into the switch, back out of the switch, along this blue cable, then up this brown cable, up to the light, back down from the light bulb, through the blue cable, and back down to neutral with the blue cable. So it's all just making sure that all of the circuits close properly. Here we'll be going black on black and grey on grey. So one of those will be live when we hit the light bulb. And on the other side, we'll have the switch, which will also have one of them run through with a double throw. So these 2 cables, the grey and the black, basically will go into the top of the other switch. And from the bottom of the other switch, we'll have the live that then goes back to the light bulb. And the other side of the light bulb will come back to this neutral here. So I'm going to connect all of those together with our little blocks, and then I can close that up and we can get on with the next step.
So hello. So while Rafa is busy working at our house, I thought I'm going to show you a little bit what I'm doing with the kids right now in Gennady, because we went up a little hill to find the playground. Well, it's not really a great playground, but still I like to go here with the kids, so they can go on the swing or on the slide. Also, we have the tennis court. You might probably know already, but I show you anyway. So let me turn around the camera. Here's a little playground which the kids, or at least the older one, likes to go to. The other one is here. It's quite nice. It's quite hot today, so we'll see what we will do. Maybe we go to a swimming pool later on. And Raphael is probably sweating right now. Yeah. And there we have the little tennis court, which I guess is closed. And here everything is happening in summer mainly, so it's summer already, but I think it's all closed.
Mami, nicht vergessen.
And here's where the people who live here and also all the people who come and spend their vacation, they play boule here. I don't know how you call it. We call it boule or boccia or buteng. Yeah, and then over here, when it's open, we like to have drinks. Sometimes we cook all together here. Bravo, huh? Bravo. So little kids
Das hier wieder
are
rausgeschossen.
also renovating a house. Trying to fix it. Oh, he's doing a good job.
There we go, everything's connected up. That should be fine. Normally is. The cables are out here so we can run them. That has come, so I'll have to put that back on. That's fine. So we're getting closer and closer. I'm going to get the lid. We'll cover this up. Every time I wire anything together or plumb anything together, I take a couple of photographs. That way, if I ever do need to go back, I know exactly where the box is in relation to, well, pretty much everything else. It's sort of not too hard to find, and I can just make a little trap if I need to in the plasterboard. I don't think I ever will, but I know which cables go where and why, so I've got everything pretty well clear in my mind. Before I pushed them in, obviously I made the picture so that you could see it more clearly. But they're all in there now. I'm going to get the lid, put the lid on, and then that's it for electricity behind here. What we need then is to run the wastewater from the sink and get this tap set up, because we'll always have this screwed to something, and then this tap will come out of the wall, and there's a pipe that goes from there actually to the tap on the little sink, so that if the tap does ever start leaking or you need to change a washer or something, you just have to turn off this little tap here rather than cutting off the whole water system. It's the way it's always been done in Germany and in Austria, so that's how we're doing it here. Right, go find my bits and bobs. Okay, so here's our little dinky sink, and it came fully equipped. So we've got a tap, we've got a chrome siphon, the pipe that goes into the wall, the whatever it is, the filter thing, you can't close it, but it's really only for washing your hands, even a little rosette for where this pipe will go into the wall. So it's pretty neat stuff. This clamps straight through the hole there, and then the water clamps straight onto the bottom of it, and it's just cold water, open, close, plenty just for washing your hands. Now it came with these to fix it to the wall, but we're too far off the wall and I can't use these on plasterboard, so I'm going to reinforce with a piece of wood. I'm going to have to measure out. There are only 2 mounting holes and it really isn't very heavy, but I do have kids, so they will eventually end up swinging on it as if they were Tarzans, so it needs to be pretty well secured to the wall. So I'm going to measure that up, put a piece of wood into the metal framework, and then I'm going to bolt this to that piece of wood. But what we need to do first is to work out exactly how high it is. So if the correct height of the top edge is 90 centimeters, about 36 inches off the ground, then when we set this up to about half, then I need our wastewater pipe to come out there somewhere, and our freshwater pipe to come out. That doesn't really make much difference, it's got a little flexi pipe. So wherever that's convenient, without getting in the way of what I'm going to be drilling in and fixing all the electrical lines behind it. So I'm going to measure all of that up now, and then we'll find an ideal spot in the wall for where this wastewater pipe needs to connect up. Okay, well, there's our line, that's where it wants to be. But unfortunately, as you can see, not very cleverly, there's a rail here. And I can't move it because that's the width of the plasterboard as it comes in. So I'm going to put the sink slightly further over, in fact probably even there, so that I can get the waste water outlet to the right hand side of this rail. And I'm going to chop that out with a little angle grinder, and then run a piece of wood from there, where I put the 3 holes in, there where the 3 holes are, to over here to this rail, and that should hopefully make it pretty stable. There we go, little letterbox. Obviously the rigidity will come as everything is screwed together, as plasterboard goes onto there. Even the sink will add rigidity just by being something that's screwed in on both sides of the rails. So that should be fine. We've got a couple more rails to put in here, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to do that in a minute. Before I plumb in anything more here. So I'm going to go and cut those now. I'm going to measure and cut and then slot them in. So as I said, one here, and as they go together, even more rigidity. I think it'll work out once all the sides are fitted. Pretty rigid. I mean, it shouldn't move much, and we're not going to be banging into it massively, so I think we'll be okay this time. Okay, so the theory, I will trim back this ceiling holder by a little bit, just about half, is that when a piece of plasterboard comes in here, I can screw through here and onto there, and that will hold everything much more rigidly. And the same here, the uprights aren't in here yet, but when they go in, we'll be going up to the ceiling, just like on the other side. And they can screw onto there as well. And all of that will help our loo to move, not at all, hopefully. Because there will be another couple of rails in there, probably one there, one there, one there, one there. It seems like a lot of metal, and it is a lot of metal. And we'll be doing the same here on this outer wall, so there'll be an upright there and an upright there. Again, behind the sink, probably quite useful. The sink will be going on a shelf, so not screwed directly to the wall as it is here. What I'm going to do now is mark up the sink, and then I've got some threaded bar there and some big washers and bolts, so no risks there. And I'm going to mark it up on the piece of wood, drill through, hang the sink in place, and then I can set up the fresh and wastewater pipes for it. Okay, so I've just trimmed 2 little bits off that thread bar, and a bolt through the back, drilled some holes, big washers, the washers down at the bottom, and I'm going to put the sink on and finger tighten it up, and then I can line up the water and the wastewater. And that's what it's going to look like. So obviously there'll be plasterboard behind it, but it sits. It's not properly fastened up yet, but the back wall isn't moving. Once that's bolted down, I think that'll be fine. So that's pretty much, we're going to move the incoming water pipe up a little bit and stop it a little bit earlier. It'll have to go on a wooden block so that the tap sticks out of the wall properly. So this is the thickness of the plasterboard. So we need this to screw up so that this arrives here at the flange at the same level as this back piece of the metal framework. We'll cut that down there. So I'm going to have to go and turn the water off in a minute, and then run pretty much where that is the wastewater pipe down. Now there's nothing except water going to go down this pipe, which means that the angle is less important. You need a 2% drop for general waste, because it'll stop solids staying in the pipe and liquids running off, or less than that everything will sit in the pipe. But as this is really just a little hand basin, we're going to run it from there at quite a steep angle so that it comes out pretty much perfectly there and then down into that pipe there. So there we go, wastewater pipe. The raw plug actually burst out quite a bit of plaster here. It's not going anywhere though. Pipe onto there, 32 to 50 and 50 down into the main collector at the bottom. So there shouldn't be any difficulty there. This is pretty basic. So now I'm going to re-drill the holes. I'm going to cut this, put a wooden block here, and move that to there so that we can then connect up this little tap. Okay, so I went and turned the water off. I've trimmed this down, I've put the block in. It's a bit messy behind here now because of all these holes, and it's just torn up the plaster. So once I've got all of this lined up, obviously I'll take this tap off again when we do the plasterboard. I'm going to go and mix up just a little bit of raw plaster and just cover this up, because I don't like the idea of it all cracking and falling away in the background. It's just for me really. There's no proper reason to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'd rather have it clean and tidy back there. And off they go down to Grenady Beach on the river for a quick cool off while I get back to work. Okay, well, that's made it just a little bit tidier. So I don't want the kids thinking I was being lazy when they tear the whole thing to bits in 20 years time or something to make God knows what will be fashionable then. So I've got a little bit of muck left. Just going to pop it in along that back wall over there. And there we go. Amazing how far a little bit of muck goes, actually right up to the corner there. So that's much tidier. Strip everything off and get ready for, as I said, for the next sheet, I think. Tidy everything up a bit and we should be pretty good. Right, so with the water off, I've taken off that pipe there. That pipe there, which is now squished up there. And I'm going to get our piece of plasterboard, drill the hole there, set it up for this, drill this hole, drill that hole, so that everything hopefully lines up. Check, double check, triple check, and then screw it on. Now, on the other side, we used a 150 at the bottom and a 1 at the top. So over here, we're going to use a 1 at the bottom, which will come up to about here. Now, I've been thinking about that. Is that a good idea? And I think actually it's fine, because it's going to be fixed at so many points with that, and then there'll be a tall one here, a 150, so to there. And I don't want a continuous seam all the way down. Plus, I'm going to have a lot of faffing about to do behind this piece of plasterboard. So I think that's probably the wisest move. Time will tell if I'm right or wrong. So I'm going to go and get from my stack of plasterboard a 1 meter high green bit. And then we'll put a couple of little bits of wood on the floor so that it doesn't touch the ground. Mark it up, drill some holes in it, and we should be good to go. Okay, well, we're pretty close. That looks fine. That looks okay too. This is a little bit off. To get it straight, so I'm going to line it up over there first, and that'll be fine. So let's get our water pipe back through there, and while this is leant outwards, bolt it on. Then we can close everything up.
So hello, it's me again. Just wanted to show you this. We are going to, a little river. It's really like 2 minutes from our house. So the kids can play a little bit and throw stones in it and cool them down a little bit because it's really hot today. So it's quite pretty. I've never been here actually, so let's see how it looks like. Wow, that's nice. So, kid number 1 having fun, trying to catch some fish. Kid number 2 is about to get really dirty, I guess. But so what? So what? And I think a thunderstorm is coming up. But we are home quickly, so, and we also love adventures, so we are fine. Yeah, it's really nice here. And nobody here except us.
Okay, well there we go. That's that's gone pretty easily. We've got a little gap at the bottom. I've got 2 screws in holding it straight, so now I can screw everything up. Screw everything together rather than screw everything up. We just had to redo that there, which is fine. This is perfect. There's a rosette obviously that goes around these holes to hide them. And then we'll have another washer there, and then the sink, and then another washer, and that should all be pretty good. Everything's lined up there. The water's now put back together. I won't turn it on until I put that tap back in. But that went surprisingly well. So I'm now going to just put in a lot of screws and get that tap screwed back on so that I can turn the water on for when the others get back from the river and we'll be wanting showers. Okay, well, as you can see, it looks like something isn't quite straight because the rail does get a little bit thinner at the top. I don't know quite what we're going to do about that. I think I'm going to unhook it at the top and nudge it over a little bit and then staple it back in. Well, there was absolutely no good reason to hesitate there. That took all of a minute. It's back in, ceiling's back in, everything's held nicely back together. So, just time to screw all of that up. Screw it up, screw it in, screw it on, and then so left and right, middle. And then, in fact, before we do the last bit, we need to decide how we're going to do around the door, which I'm going to double, so there'll be 2 rails, 2 metal rails all the way around. So I need to fix that, fix it down, fix it at the top, line up the ceiling. So quite a lot still left to do on fiddly bits. Okay, that's going to be it for today. So it's not massive progress. I mean, these pieces of plasterboard are 250 by 126, and in 3 days we've gotten 2 full sheets up. So so we're not breaking any records, but we're definitely getting there, and I think we've remembered most things, so we shouldn't be too many surprises, I hope. Okay. It's just starting to drizzle a tiny bit. I think there's a thunderstorm coming. I did hear a couple of rumbles earlier on. I'm now going to sit here and have this, which is the beer I presented yesterday. Some of you saw the hell written at the bottom of it. That, in fact, is the German word for light. As the Germans distinguish between light beer, light wheat beer, dark wheat beer. Well, there are thousands of different types of beer, but basically that just means that it's sort of like a lager beer, like a lighter beer. So I'm going to have that now. For lots of people subscribe to Instagram, so I guess it obviously wasn't apparent that I had an Instagram. Not a huge amount happens on there, but if I see a nice photo opportunity, I do just sort of take it. So yes, once again, thank you very much. Shame you're not here. I know some of you have this sort of a project. Some of you are just interested in the region. Lots of you just love Italy. Some of you have a dream of buying an old house like this and restoring it. But I do really appreciate all of the time that you all spend writing comments and watching this. And, you know, there's nice comments every once in a while, like someone yesterday who said, this is the only YouTube channel I watch the ads on. Don't feel obliged to do anything. I mean, it is nice. I do get some euros from YouTube every month, which is great. All goes towards the house. Means I can come down here a little bit more often. But I, you know, I do this above all so that, you know, it's about sharing, and if you enjoy it, and of course for the kids in 20 years' time when they discover everything has broken. So. Thank you once again. It's humbling to see how many of you actually log in and watch this every day, or every couple of days, or every time I'm online. Take care, and bye-bye for now.